Hello, everyone. We're going to get started here. But first off, I want to introduce to you Allison Hacht with GHC.
Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Welcome to our program. We're going to be doing the energies of sleep today, and Wendy Warren Grapentine will be presenting this program for you. So we'll introduce her in just a second. I just wanted to take just a minute to thank Monona Terrace for allowing us to do this program and allowing us since 2002 to host and collaborate with them to offer these community programs. This will unfortunately be our last wellness presentation with them. I don't know if all of you have heard, but Group Health Cooperative will be closing our complementary medicine department at the end of this year. But don't worry, stay tuned. Misty will be continuing to provide great services. We'll be continuing to offer she'll continue to offer the yoga core and wellness talks throughout next year. So keep watching for their presentations. You can also log back in and watch previously recorded wellness talks. So definitely do that if you're interested. But just really wanted to thank them from the bottom of our hearts for allowing us to be part of the community for all of these years. And we're very excited to offer this last great presentation about the energies of sleep. And as this presentation goes on today, we do have a Q&A, question and answer chat feature on this. So you'll see an icon at the bottom of your screen. And as you have questions that come up, feel free to type in that box, and I'll be able to work with Wendy to jump in to try and answer those questions as we go through. And then she'll also have time at the end to answer those. So I will move this along and introduce you to Wendy Warren Grapentine, and she can take you right into our presentation. So thanks again for joining us, everyone.
Thank you for the introduction, Allison, and hello, everybody. I'm Wendy, and I'm so happy to be here with you all today. We are here to talk about how you can balance your energies to get better sleep. I don't know. I think y'all are here because you have an issue with sleep, right? And I just want to say that there's so many things that we could talk about as it relates to sleep, even in the realm of energy. All right. But today we're going to talk about why you might want to consider looking at energetic approaches to improving your sleep. I'm going to give you a series of exercises that you can pick and choose from that might be helpful for you with your sleep. And then I'll leave you with some overall tips and some resources that you can take going forward. So my goal when I work with people at group health and now going into private practice is always for you to have a wonderful experience when we're together, but then for you to have tools to take forward, because it's really all about empowering you to manage your own health. Right? You know your body and your sleep patterns better than any provider ever could. And so what I'm offering you today are just a different way of thinking about this and some tools and some tips that might be helpful for you. So I look forward to sharing it with you and look forward to your questions. As Allison said, if you want to ask questions as we go along, certainly please do. She'll be monitoring that chat for us, and will let me know if there's something that we want to address then. Otherwise, we'll certainly get to questions at the end. So, all right, let's do it. Let's talk about really how you can balance your energies to improve your sleep. So why work with your energy? Lots of other things, right? You've probably talked about, sleep hygiene and supplements and all sorts of different techniques and theories about how you can get sleep and resources, supplements, medications, all of those things. We're not dealing with any of that today. We're going to talk about energy, because really energy is the underlying foundation to good health. I like to call it the ultimate in complementary medicine. It really complements everything else that you might do as it relates to any particular situation you're trying to work with. So I'm not saying this is the be all end all. I'm not saying stop doing what you're doing. I'm just saying, hey, here's something else that might be really helpful for you. So let's dive right in. So why would you want to look at energy and balancing your energies as a way to improve your sleep? Well, first of all, it's a big issue, right? So I think according to the CDC, 1 in 3 people are not getting enough sleep in the United States of America. That's a lot of people, right? And we all know what it's like not to get a good night's sleep. So let's talk about what energy is, all right? So when you think about energy, you think about, I don't know, probably the lights that are on behind me, right? Or you think about like, oh, I feel like I've got a lot of energy today or not. But we have, according to Eden Energy Medicine, which is the foundation of what I'm going to be sharing with you today, 9 different energy systems that Donna Eden teaches us in this program and that I'm excited to share with you here today. And so all of these come into play, and we have things like, we have electrical signals in our brain, right? We can measure those with hooking up to machines. We have electrical signals from our heart, from our nervous system, and our muscles. We have energy running all the way through us. So I often like to demonstrate for people, like, this is a real thing that's happening inside our body. So I have this little fun thing. It's a little toy. It's called the energy stick. I just got it off of Amazon. I don't know if you can read it there, but it just says energy stick. And there's a little metal on either end. And so what I'm going to do is just demonstrate for you how the electricity, the energy that's running through my body from all the different systems that I have, just like you do, can actually light this up and make it make some sound. So I'm going to put one hand over this metal part. And skin is a conductor of electricity, and my other hand on the other, and it's my little party trick. Okay, so I just lit that up because I completed the circuit. Now, if I were to just touch it to my sleeve, it doesn't do anything because my sweater doesn't conduct electricity. My skin does. Okay, so one finger, anything. I've completed the circuit. So it's just a nice, tangible way to demonstrate this thing that we're going to be playing with today, because energy is invisible. All we get to see is the impact, the result of how it's balanced or not balanced, how it's flowing or not flowing. All right, so that's why we're going to look at energy, because it's the foundation of who we are, how everything flows and operates in our entire system. All right, let's talk about a couple of different things. Well, explain to you the main energy system that we're going to be working with in these exercises today. And it's called meridians. I don't know if some of you may have heard of a meridian before. Certainly, they're part of meridians on the globe, right? We have meridians that way in geography. But this is meridians from traditional Chinese medicine. So I'm going to share my screen with you here. And we're going to see, hold on. And share that. There we go. Oh. Why did it go? Sorry, guys. Close your eyes. Don't see the whole thing. We're practicing and had it at the end, not at the beginning. Okay, so these are meridians. This is what we're going to be playing with here today. We are looking at pathways that energy moves in our body. All right. And you can see there on the left side of your screen, the person facing forward, you can see how those colored lines move up and down the front of the body, over the head, out through the arms, down the legs. On the opposite side, looking at the back, these meridians flow along the back side of our limbs and our body and our head as well. And down the center is the names of the different meridians and color coded and whatnot. But really what I want you to get from this is what we're talking about. So it looks a lot like your circulatory system, right? Your arteries and your veins that your heart pumps blood through. And this is where energy is flowing through. It's one big long circuit, but each segment has a name, and it's associated, as you'll notice in there, with different organs: stomach, spleen, small intestine, heart, things like that. So that's what we're working with. So now you have kind of a visual of that. And then let's look down at how we're going to work with these. All right. There we go. This is what's called the meridian flow wheel. All right. And this is kind of a visual representation of how these meridians interact with the times of day. So if you start right there at the top there where it says heart, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., that is when heart meridian is considered to be at its what we call high tide in this cycle. It's most active. It's doing its work during that time. All right. Then we move into small intestine from 1 to 3 p.m., bladder, kidney, circulation, sex, which is another name for heart protector, come down to triple warmer. So now here's where it starts to get interesting, and here's where we're going to play. This triple warmer down in the lower right-hand corner that you can see. I'll just get the little laser pointer. So triple warmer right down here, lower right, 9 to 11 p.m. All right, so if you're somebody, I won't give that away, but we're going to be dealing with that. All right, so then we have gallbladder, that's active from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m., liver from 1 to 3, and lung from 3 to 5 a.m. So this is important just to understand that these are what we're working with. And sometimes we need to look and say, we think the problem is during the lung time from 3 to 5, and we're working with that, and it's not doing what we think it's going to. So now we have to go look at its pair up over here, opposite bladder at 3 to 5 p.m. So this is why a lot of times in working with energy, I'm going to stop sharing the screen here. It's helpful to work with somebody one-on-one, right? Because your specific situation is very unique. But that's not to say you can't get some help from a class like this, where you're going to learn some things and listen, like I said, to yourself, what works for you, what feels right, what speaks to you, which exercises you remember. Because it's my firm belief that if it's the one you remember, it's the one you need. Our intuition really comes into play in this. Okay, so those are meridians. That's what we're going to be playing with here today. So let's talk about those times of day that I kind of started to talk about there. We have a little poll, and if we can get that poll put up, I'd like you all to interact for me here and let me know. Answer the poll when it appears. And the question is about what your specific sleep issue is. All right. I think it's coming. All right. I don't know, are we having a problem with the poll? There it is. Okay. Okay, so what is your primary sleep issue? Please pick one. Is it with falling asleep, waking up between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m., waking between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m., or waking between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m.? So just take a moment, choose which one of those is most true for you. I'm going to give you probably another, let's give you 10 seconds here to choose. I don't think it'll be that hard, but in case anyone's having trouble, another 5. And let's see if we can get the results of our poll. Okay, interesting. Yes, okay. So this is kind of what I expected. All right, so if you're having trouble falling asleep, that kind of plays into the waking between 11 and 1. Not a lot of people wake up between those times. That time tends to be more of the issue with why you can't fall asleep, right? And so the next two, 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. and 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. are the most common. The people who I see in my practice are the ones, when they say they're having a sleep issue, I'm always like, when do you wake up? And it's often between 1 and 3 or between 3 and 5. So if we go and we look back, let's go look back at our little wheel here. All right. And you'll see that gallbladder time down there at the bottom, 11 p.m. to 1 a.m., that's the one that not too many people had a hard time waking or had issues waking up then. It's probably because you're having a hard time falling asleep. So your gallbladder meridian might be involved in why you're having trouble falling asleep. If you're waking up between 1 and 3 a.m., there's a good chance that liver is the thing that's causing issue, the liver meridian, and that we can look at that and see where the imbalance is and help support that. Same thing with lung from 3 to 5 a.m. If that's when you're waking up, then we look at lung meridian and we see, what's going on there? How can we support lung meridian? Because each of these meridians are at what we call their high tide during that time. So in particular, liver is one where a lot of people wake up in this 1 to 3 time because their liver is so busy doing all of its work and it's like overactive. So we need to help it kind of calm down. We call it sedating that meridian, calming it down, relaxing it, letting it release a little bit because it's so busy processing all of the things that you've put into your body during the day that maybe are not in your body's best interest. Okay, so now you get a sense of kind of where we're going. So I'd like you just to sort of note for yourself, if you're somebody who has trouble falling asleep, gallbladder is the one you're going to want to pay attention to as we move through this presentation. If you're somebody who falls asleep between 1 and 3, liver is the one you want to pay attention to. 3 and 5, lung is the meridian that you are going to want to pay attention to. So let's step now that we understand
Wendy,
energy, why we're
we do
playing
have
with the
one
energy.
question for you.
Oh, yeah.
What if you wake up every like 1.5 hours between 12:30 and 7 a.m.?
Oh, I'm very sorry that that's your experience. That's hard. Um, that's a good question. So that's something where we would really probably want to dive in more specifically and look at what are some other imbalances that are happening in your energy systems that are preventing you from falling asleep. It might be a stress response. It might be that fight, flight, or freeze. So I would, for the purposes of this presentation, I would pay attention mostly to the gallbladder piece of it, because if you can calm down, and also the triple warmer, which I didn't talk about, but I will here in a minute. Those are calming down the stress response and might help you sleep more completely through the night. So good question. And let's move on with that one. Any other questions, Allison?
No
You
more
good?
questions, just some comments right now that will maybe sort themselves out as we get through this a little bit more. Thank you.
Okay, sounds good. Okay. All right, so let's move on to these energy exercises that I said I'd tell you about. So you got the little preview there when I had to flip back through the slides. You're going to see images of each of these exercises that we do. And each one of them is going to have a written description, step by step, of how to do the exercise. But I figured it would be easier for you to actually see how they work and what I'm doing if I do it in person here without the slides. When I'm finished showing them to you, we'll kind of pop through those. I'll reference them again for you, and then we'll move into our next segment, okay? Just so you kind of know what to expect here. What I'd like you to do now for this next little section is to do the exercises with me and really notice how you're feeling. Notice if this feels good to you. All right. If something feels good to you, maybe just make a little note to yourself, like, oh, yeah, this one might be one I want to pay attention to. Just write it on a little Post-it note for yourself. And when you get the handout, you can look at that more in depth. Okay. All right, so the first one that we're going to do, a lot of the issue with getting to sleep and then staying asleep is we've got too much going on, right? We're all living in our heads all the time, and our energies build up throughout the day. We're doing things, we're interacting with people, there's a lot happening, and our system's like, and then I don't know if you're like me, sometimes I sit there and I'm on Instagram and watching reels at night because I just want to go laugh about something and let go. But it's also very stimulating, right? There's a lot going on. And so one of the things that we can start with, the best thing I think to start with, is to get rid of some of that excess energy. And that's by doing an exercise that we call blowing out the venom. All right. All of these exercises have really kind of fun names that Donna Eden created as part of Eden Energy Medicine. And so I always use the names that she came up with because I just think they're very accurate and entertaining and fun. All right. So we're going to do the blowing out the venom. So you're going to be standing up. All right. Standing up, and you're going to just, sometimes you can put the thing that you are stressing about, if there's a particular thing that kind of has your head going, or you could just imagine right out in front of you is just like, oh, just the whole day, right? Just the stress and the overwhelm and the busyness of the day. And what I want you to do is reach out and grab that, right? Like you're physically grabbing something, and real muscle energy, like it's heavy. You got to move it. So really move your arms, pull your arms in to your side, reach your arms all the way up over your head, and then put a little bend in your knees so you don't throw out your back. And you're going to send it all to the ground and make this sound. Okay. And as your hands come down, you let it go. Now, here's the additional piece to this. You want to inhale on the upswing and then exhale as you go down. All right, we're going to do this 3 times with some intensity, and then a 4th time much more slowly. And imagine that whatever it is, all of the energy that's up and that's keeping you going, and making it hard to wind down, that's all in front, and you're going to grab it, you're going to bring it up and just send it down into the earth. Let it dissipate out into the earth. It becomes inert. It's not going to bother anybody. You ready? Pay attention to how you feel as you do this. Grab it, and one big inhale. Bend your knees. Really important to make that sound, okay? Again, inhale. And bend your knees and one more time. And now we're going to do a fourth time really slowly, gently, not much muscle energy. And okay, that is blowing out the venom. You can do this anytime during the day when you're feeling a little overwhelmed, energy's high, you're a little stressed, you're angry or frustrated. This is a good exercise to do, but certainly before you go to bed, just to let go of the day. Let all that excess energy go. All right, the next one we're going to do is to calm the triple warmer meridian, which on that wheel was right before the ones we were talking about. So it went triple warmer, and then actually I should do it the opposite way for you. It went triple warmer, gallbladder, liver, lung, right? Triple warmer is the fight, flight, or freeze response. When we're in fight, flight, or freeze, we literally feel like our lives are in danger. We're probably not going to sleep real well, right? Like think about being out in the wild. You're on your own, unfamiliar territory. You're on alert, right? You don't know who or what's coming at you. What kind of wild animal is going to show up in the middle of the night? So you're not going to get your best night's sleep. You're going to kind of, like they say, sleep with one eye open, right? I think a lot of times that's what we all are doing in our own beds where we're safe and sound. We're kind of sleeping with one eye open because we haven't calmed down that fight, flight, or freeze response. And triple warmer is the meridian that's responsible for that. So we're going to trace that meridian backwards to take excess energy out of it. All right, so these meridians can be traced forwards to put energy in and backwards to pull energy out. Triple warmer almost always needs the energy to be pulled out. So we're going to do that with an exercise called cover the eyes. All right, so I'm going to take off my glasses here so that I can actually cover my eyes. You can leave yours on, it doesn't matter, but I just kind of want to show you. So take your hands, rub them together, shake them off. Place them over your eyes. And while we're doing this, if you want to, open them up so you can see me, see what we're doing. Take a nice deep breath in through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Inhale through your nose. And as you exhale through your mouth, draw your fingertips to your temples. Now you're going to inhale and bring your fingertips up over the tops of your ears. And then exhale, bring them down behind. Inhale, grab the back of your neck and kind of hang there. And then exhale, drag your fingertips along your vagus nerve on the side of your neck and down to your heart. Cross over and enjoy your breath. So anytime we're trying to move energy, breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth helps dispel excess energy. So I'm going to have us do this one more time. And this time, I want you to really pay attention. Now that you kind of know what you're doing, pay attention to how it feels. All right. So rub your hands together, shake them off, place them over your eyes. Inhale. Exhale through your mouth. Inhale. Exhale, fingertips to temples. Inhale up and over. Exhale down behind. Inhale and grab and hang. Exhale, pressure along the side of the neck. And one more breath over your heart. Okay, how did that feel? I wish I could see you all so you could tell me how it feels, but I'm going to trust it felt good because I haven't run into a person yet who said, usually they're like, oh, that just feels so good. All right, so that is the cover the eyes exercise. There's a video of blowing out the venom and of cover the eyes that I'll share with you at the end of today's presentation, okay? And those are both wonderful for letting go of the energy, calming down that stress response in your body. Both of these are things you can do throughout your day. And if you think that if you realize that, hey, my days are pretty stressful, and so no wonder by the time I try to go to bed, it's hard to shut down. Just doing these before bed may not be enough. You might want to do both of these kind of throughout your day. And oftentimes I recommend to people that you do it, and you're going to think this is probably kind of silly, but it's kind of silly brilliant. Not my idea. That's why I can say that. To do it every time you go to the bathroom. It's the one thing we do in our life that is non-negotiable. We can convince ourselves we're not hungry or we don't have time for this or that, but when you gotta go, you gotta go, right? And so if you tie doing these exercises to when you gotta go, and just when you're finished, wash your hands and do a couple of exercises and then move on with your day. All right. Doing those two exercises throughout your day, if you feel like you are highly stressed, can really make a difference when it comes to bedtime. Just doing it the one time before bed, like I said, may not be enough. You might need to do some more. Okay, so I'm just checking our time. We're doing great. Okay, so now we're going to do some more exercises here, and these are all going to be in the handout with written instructions. All right, this one's called the crown pull. And you're going to take your fingertips, your hand, put your pinkies right at your hairline, and then make a nice line, right like that. Okay, and you're going to press in and inhale. Exhale, pull your fingertips apart. Right, I like to kind of stick my hands up into my hair so I can pull it. Then move back one hand width. Press in, inhale, exhale, pull apart with some pressure. Come around to the back side of your head. Same thing, press it in. Exhale. Come around the curve at the back. And all the way back to the back of your ears on that one. All right. And then come to the back of your neck, press in and inhale. And then just like we did on the last exercise, exhale, drag along, calming the vagus nerve and come down to your heart center. That's called the crown pull. We're opening up space in our skull, frankly. Like there's still, you know how babies are born and they have that soft spot because all the plates of their head haven't really completely fused. As an adult, ours are fused more, but there's still a little bit of play in there. And so we're creating just a little bit of space. Energy doesn't need much, but energy does need space to move. And so when you've moved energy out and you've calmed down triple warmer, opening up some space in your skull. And I like to use visualization here and just say to myself, those thoughts that are flying around, I can't get rid of, oh, there you go. There's space, leave, let it go. It also just physically feels really, really nice. That's the crown pull. Another one for getting energy to move. And again, you don't have to do all of these, okay? So I don't want you to get overwhelmed. There were so many things I wanted to share with you today, and I had to narrow it down, and I still feel like I have too much in here. So I really want you to just pick what feels good for you. If something just doesn't speak to you, don't worry about it. It's probably not the thing you need, all right? Pick the ones that feel good to you, but try them all just so you can see. All right, then the crown pull, or sorry, we just did that one. We're going to do connecting heaven and earth. So we're going to rub your hands together. Again, we're doing this one standing. You could do it sitting, but I think it feels nice standing. Shake off your hands, bring them around in front of your heart. I just always like to do a big circle, but that's not required. And now you're going to take an inhale and stretch so that one palm is up to the ceiling, the other palm is down to the ground, and you're fully extended. Okay, so let's do an inhale. Hold your breath. Press that hand up to the ceiling, press the other hand down to the ground, look up at that top hand and just really stretch through that whole side of your body. Drop that bottom shoulder. If you need to take a breath, do, and then hold it again. And then exhale back to center. Same thing on the other side. Inhale, looking up at that top hand, dropping that bottom shoulder. Exhale to center. We're going to do that one more time on each side. Rub your hands together, shake them off, inhale. This time looking up, now look down at the other hand. Get some movement in your neck and move back up. Exhale to center. Other side, inhale, up, looking down, looking up. Exhale and exhale now all the way down. So head and hands go all the way down to the ground. I'm going to stay facing up so you can hear me, but your head is all the way to the ground. Hang down there, all right? Hang, release. Every exhale, just let your shoulders and your head release closer to the ground. Keep breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth. And when you're ready to come up, get that bend in your knees, and you can do a circle with your palms towards you, or you can do figure eights in front of you. You're just going to move the energy up the front of your body as you roll up one vertebrae at a time. All right, all the way up and over head and then down to your sides. Okay, so that one is lovely because it helps clear out stuck energy. It's great for your joints. So we hold things in our bodies throughout the day. If you do this connecting heaven and earth, letting all of that go, I find it helps with tension in my hips and in my shoulders before I go to sleep. So I'm not holding on to things. Sometimes for me, like a restless leg thing, I don't have a diagnosis of that. So, I'm not trying to diagnose anybody here. But if you have issues with, kind of my family, we call them the Jimmy legs. And if you're having that, sometimes I found it's because my hips are really tight. And doing one of these connecting heaven and earth or multiple, right? You can do that as many times as you want. I just showed you twice. Can help create some space and let some of that energy that's stuck in there go so that it's not compressing on, bones, muscles aren't compressing on the nerves and the fascia isn't tight, pushing on the nerves and causing issues there. So that's my anecdotal advice on that one. Not medical advice. All right, so we did connecting heaven and earth. Now we're going to do something called the Celtic Weave. And this is weaving the outer layer of what's called your aura. Your aura in medical terms is your biofield. All right, there's a medical term for it. It exists. And it is the electromagnetic signal that is given off by all of the energy systems in your body, right? So all the energy systems that were picked up by this little guy and the meridians we've been playing with, the chakra over our heart that we've been holding on to, all of our different energy systems combine to create this electromagnetic signal. And when we weave that Celtic weave, it's sort of like creating a little cocoon for ourselves, a little protective layer. All right, so we're going to take your hands and again, rub them together, shake them off, and place them on either side of your ears. Now take a nice deep inhale and cross your hands in front of your face, palms towards you. And then flip your palms and send the energy back behind you as you exhale. Flip them forward, bring it in. Always crossing in front of you. Exhale, flip and send it back. So you're using your palms to move energy and your breath. Inhale, palms forward, cross, exhale, send it back. And you'll notice I'm getting a little bit lower on my body every time. The goal here is we're going to do this all the way down to our ankles. And you're just weaving a beautiful web around yourself. You might use the power of your imagination to be like, oh, I'm weaving a cocoon of sleep around my body. All of my energies can be calm. My mind can relax. Okay, so you're just going to keep going down, all the way down. Do a couple more. All the way down. And when you get down to your ankles, reach back behind you, scoop some of the energy forward that you've been sending back, and bring it up over the top of your head. Just imagine that it's raining all down all over you. You might want to do some figure eights around you. If that feels good, just kind of move it. Have fun with it. Okay, that is the Celtic Weave. Just calms everything. I like to think of it when I do it before I go to bed as creating that little cocoon that I'm going to get to sleep in. Next, we have the cup. So we have two, I showed you guys the meridians before, right? So we have all those ones on the wheel. There are two more that are not on the wheel. They're called central and governing, and they go up the front and the back of our body. So central comes up the front like this, governing comes up the back and up over the top of our head here. They end, we touch them on the outside of our body by touching here and here, but they actually hook up in the roof of your mouth, all right? If you take your tongue, so just come with me here, take your tongue, put it behind your teeth. You can feel that hard palate, we call it, that hard spot behind your teeth. Move it back up a little more, and you're going to feel the soft palate. It's a little higher, softer. That's where those two meridians hook up, and they create this little microcosmic orbit of those two meridians, hooking them together. That's why we call it the hookup. So taking your tongue and putting it up there is helpful as you take the middle finger of one hand and put it on your belly button. All right, middle finger of your other hand and put it in what we call your third eye chakra. Press in and pull up. Okay, so in and up with both fingers. In and up, put your tongue on the roof of your mouth and take 3 nice deep breaths. And excuse me, it always makes me yawn. That's how I know my energy is hooked up. It wasn't always like that. But you might notice that you just suddenly feel calmer. You might feel a little just kind of like, oh, everything settles. You may feel nothing at all. When I first started doing that one, I didn't feel anything for like 6 months. And now it's just, oh, it's a really delicious feeling. So keep at it. Just do 3 to 5 breaths, hooking it up. All right. Now, and so this is one that you can do. All of these that we've done so far, you can do all of these anytime you want. But up until this point, these are all, we're kind of thinking about like, how do we prepare for a good night's sleep, right? From here on out, I'm going to give you ones that you can do to prepare, but also to do if you wake up in the middle of the night. All right. So that hookup you can do while you're lying in bed. If you wake up in the middle of the night, you could do a hookup and it can help you fall back to sleep. You could also do something called the neurovascular hold. And that's where you place one hand over your forehead, the other hand at the curve at the base of your skull. All right. And just breathe here. So I want you just to breathe before I explain to you what's going on here. Take 3 nice deep breaths. Okay, you'll notice I closed my eyes. I often close my eyes when I'm doing energy work like that to go inward, to really feel it. It's not required. But I do keep breathing in through my nose and out through my mouth because that is shifting and moving energy through. So the neurovascular hold, you're holding the neurovascular points on these frontal eminences of your forehead. This is your forebrain, okay? Humans have big foreheads because we have big brains and big reasoning centers in our brains, and they live right back in here. And so when we are in a fight, flight, or freeze situation, which unfortunately a lot of us are in pretty much constantly in that freeze state, right? A lot of times when we're in that state, when we're really in it, the reasoning center of our brain, the blood flows away from it because if you're literally being attacked by a wild animal, your life is in danger. You don't need to know the square root of 34 and how to quote Shakespeare or your favorite lyrics to a song, right? That's not helpful. What you need is instinct. And that's what's happening back here in the amygdala at the back of your brain, where we're accessing from the back of your brain. It's deep in your brain. And so your amygdala goes, oh, we got this one. Which are great because it keeps us alive. It's why humans still exist because we have these amygdalas, we have this instinct so that we can just react and stay alive. Problem is, modern life, or life is very rarely actually in danger. We're just stressed and uncomfortable. And we don't understand the distinction between the stress of my life is in danger and the stress of my credit card bill is too high. Right? Or my boss is being difficult, or my child's having trouble at school. All right. And so that's where we run into trouble with that. What we're doing here is we're balancing those. We're saying, calm down, amygdala. It's okay. We're not actually in a life or death situation. Hey, blood, come on back to this forebrain so that I can have some reasoning capacity, or in this case, so I can calm down and fall asleep. So this is another lovely
Can you
one
give
to
us
do.
the name of that one again?
The neurovascular hold.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks for asking for the clarification. Definitely. So we had the hookup that you can do when you wake up. We have the neurovascular hold, because these are your neurovasculars, the main ones that you're holding. All right, then we have something called source points. So now we're going to go back to that idea of the meridians and the time of the day that you wake up, or the day, night, whatever it is. So I'm going to take us back to our slides. All right. And I'm going to show you because I am not flexible enough to show you feet on a camera like this. Okay, so remember here we're looking at our meridian cycle, and we're going to look at gallbladder, liver, and lung, what we call source points. So these are points along the meridian that sorry, let me run through these for you. So this is what you're going to get in your handout. This is the crown pole, all right, and below it in the handout are printed the directions on how to do it. This is the connecting heaven and earth, again with instructions. These are the different phases of the Celtic Weave. This is what the hookup looks like, again with instructions. This is kind of an approximation of the neurovascular hold. I need to get a better picture, but I put this one in there because how many times when we're really stressed do we just hold our head and our face on our hands? And part of that is it's an instinct to bring the blood flow back to our forebrains, to help bring us back to our reasoning selves. So that's a nice one just to recognize that we instinctually do a lot of this. Okay, here are our meridian source points. All right, so you'll see there gallbladder 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. and liver 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. So looking at this, I'll describe to you exactly where to find these on your feet. And I'll encourage you to actually do it as we're talking, okay? So if you go to the space between your big toe and your little toe, all right, let's see if I can, yep, there we go. So you're gonna start, so this is where liver meridian starts here and it comes up like this. And right here, when you hit the top of the V between the tendons of your toes and before you hit those bones in your foot, that point right there is the source point for liver meridian. All right, so just find that one, rub it a little bit. See what it feels like. See if maybe it's tender. If you're somebody that wakes up between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m., this point might be a little bit tender for you. It might not, doesn't have to be tender, but play around in there and just kind of feel it. You can press it, you can rub it, you can just hold it, whatever feels good to you. And notice what you feel, particularly those of you who wake up between 1 and 3 a.m. This is a point that you could rub when you wake up in the middle of the night. All right. Now we're going to go to looking at gallbladder. So this one you access by going between the pinky toe and the fourth toe, come up between those tendons. You're going to come up past that point that you did over there on liver, right, where the tendons end. And you're going to come up onto the first set of bones and then a little indentation right before you get to the ankle. Now, here's the cool thing. Energy is super intelligent. As one of my mentors explained to me one time, that she said, the energy dumbs itself down for us so that we can work with it, right? Because it's very, very intelligent. So it's amazing to me in all of the work that I do, if I have the intention that I'm holding a point, either my hand will kind of move eventually to a slightly different point, or the protocol will still work anyway, because I'm telling my energy, hey, I'm trying to work the gallbladder source point. So please don't get hung up on, oh, am I at exactly the right point? I'm that kind of person. I used to do that all the time, and it really held me back from some important healing. So please, if you can, let go of it. Know that you're generally in the right area and have the intention, I'm working my gallbladder source point, and it will all be good. Okay. All right, now we're going to come and let's look at the lung meridian one. So this one, lung meridian, starts up at the corner of your thumb, comes down the outside of your thumb, and right down at the base. Okay, right as the meat of your thumb comes in, there's a little indentation down there you can feel. I can put my hand up there. I don't know if it's big enough for you to see, but right as you come down. All right, so it's kind of more on the front side than on the back side, and not really on the side. It's more on the front side. That little indentation there, that is the lung source point. Yeah.
Wendy, we had a couple questions just about the last slide. Does it matter which foot you choose, or do you rub both feet or just one?
Excellent question. I should have said that. Thank you for asking. Both feet. You can work one or both. The meridians run on both sides of your body. Okay. So typically we try to work both sides of them. If you work one and you fall asleep in the middle of it, well, success. That's cool. You didn't need to do the other one. But in general, we work both sides. So excellent question. Thank you for asking. Anything else?
Nope, just a couple of the same questions. So thank you.
You good. All right. Excellent. All righty. So those are the source points. All righty. We have something called the finger twist. I'm going to show you where these points are because I just want to talk about them briefly and help have you understand why we're working them. And then I'll show you how to do them here on camera. All right. So I just pointed out to you where lung meridian started, right? Right here. So the interesting thing about lung, and here's large intestine up here at the beginning of the pointer finger. These are both part of the metal element in Chinese medicine, and they're the fall. They're associated with this time of year that we're in. We're not quite into winter, although it feels like it here in Wisconsin. And they're about letting go. So a lot of times we're not falling asleep and we're not staying asleep because we can't let go of the day. It's still got its hold on us. And so working these points can help with letting go. Heart protector here, the circulation sex or heart protector meridian, that protects our heart, which is kind of on the opposite side of that cycle, and also just we want to protect the heart, right? Calm it down. Triple warmer we talked about. Yes, the fight, flight, or freeze meridian. So working with that to calm it down. Small intestine is about discernment, choosing what we need, what's good for us, what we need to let go of, right? And then heart meridian is over here on the edge of pinky. So I'm showing those to you so that we can do a little exercise and you can kind of more appreciate, I think, why we're going to do what we're going to do with them. All right. So this is a finger twist. And basically and you can start on either hand. You can do both. Take the thumb and first two fingers and come in and rub all the way up that and then twist off the end. And then rub up the pointer finger and twist off the end. And sometimes I like to just let go of the energy there. Rub it all the way up and twist. Same thing. So hopefully you're doing this with me. And you're just working the whole thing and twisting, shake it off. Same thing on the other side. So I'm kind of using my whole hand, but mostly it's these fingers that are doing the work. All the way around, twist it, pull it off, rub it, twist it off, rub it, twist it off, rub, twist it off. That first one I needed to shake it off more. This time I didn't feel the need to. So you may or may not want to shake. Just see what works for you. Okay, finger twist. So that's letting go. That's one that you can do before you go to sleep. If you wake up in the middle of the night, something you can do throughout your day. All right, so lots of different options there. And then two more quick ones for you. There's my spoon. Stainless steel spoon. You can get these for practically nothing, like 6 of them for $1 at the dollar store. These are the ones they need to be able to attract a magnet, right? So stainless steel. And you're going to what we call spoon the bottom of your feet. Again, I'm not flexible enough to show you the bottom of my foot here, so we're just going to pretend my hand is a foot. And you just take the back of the spoon and rub it along the bottom of your foot. So up on the toes, kind of below the ball of the foot, all around. You can do the sides and the top of your foot as well, whatever feels good. Just, take a few seconds and rub. All right, both feet. And this helps with your polarity, positive, negative polarity. Our bodies are polarized just like a magnet, and we want to be attached to the earth, connected. We get so caught up in our head, our energies are all up here. We're not grounded. Bring it down. So when you spoon the bottom of your feet, it helps with grounding, which then helps you with sleep. All right, very straightforward, basic one. And the last one is something called tethering. And what you do is you take your forearm and just the back of your fingernails, and you just slide them down your forearm. Just lightly down your forearm. They did studies in Germany years ago, and this helped babies get to sleep. It's probably easier to do without my watch on that side. So just coming down nice and lightly. It's called tethering. Not sure where that comes from. Kind of sounds German. All right. Simple. Again, that's one you could do when you wake up in the middle of the night. All right, so lots of exercises, right? I hope I haven't overwhelmed you, but again, I'll just reemphasize. I don't expect you to do all of these, okay? I don't want this to become I have a 40-minute routine I have to do before I go to bed, okay? This is not meant to be stressful to give you more to do. What it is a bucket of resources for you to pull from. So please choose the ones that feel good for you and use those, all right? Let's come back to our slides and we're going to finish up here. I'm going to show you the just those tips, right? We talked about why we might want to work with our energy. I've given you some of those exercises. Now let's wrap up with some tips and some resources, all right?
Wendy, can you just give
So,
us the name of that again?
of the thing on the forearms,
Yes.
Teffening, Teffening. It's going to be on the slide here. You'll see the spelling in just a minute on the slide. All right. Oops, I think I still have my pointer going, don't I? Let's turn that off and come back to, okay. So additional sleep tips. So keep your bedroom dark or wear an eye mask. You've probably heard this before. From an energy perspective, the reason that you would do this is because it helps the pineal gland produce natural melatonin for you. All right, lots of different ways to work with the pineal gland. This is one of the most straightforward ones I can explain today for you. So another one is go to bed by 10 p.m. to avoid getting a second wind. That triple warmer time, the fight, flight, or freeze meridian, its high tide is from 9 to 11 p.m. So if you stay up past that time, past that 10 o'clock time, all the way to the end of triple warmer time, you get that second wind, and then it's hard to fall asleep and stay asleep. All right, so trying to go to bed a little bit earlier, doing many of the things I'm sure you've heard about before, reading something quiet, that kind of thing. But really looking at the time of day that you go to bed can make a big difference when it comes to working with your meridians. Choose any of today's exercises that feel good and try a few before bed. Maybe you want to do a few of them while you're in bed. Some of them are easier to do standing up outside of your bed. Others you can certainly do while you're lying in bed, the hookup and the neurovascular hold, right? The crown pull you could easily do in bed. The fingers you could do in bed. All right. So they don't have to be done in any certain order. They don't have to be done in any certain location. Just try a few that call to you. And then have one or two techniques in mind if you wake up in the middle of the night. So based on those times that we talked about, things like the neurovascular hold, the source points, which are tied to the time that you might wake up, and there's the teffening, the forearm scratch. All right. Source points, neurovascular. Oh, and the hookup. I forgot to put the hookup in there. You could also do the hookup if you wake up. But just kind of, have it in your mind that, I usually wake up between 1 and 3 a.m. and have a general idea of where those liver source points are so that you can be ready when you wake up without, having to get out notes and do a bunch of stuff. Just get your foot up there and rub that liver source point. And here's the last piece of advice. Do something called the daily energy routine in the morning, because this aligns your energy for the rest of the day and into the following night. So the daily energy routine is a 7-minute routine that you do that includes some of the things we talked about today. That is a great way to start off your day. It balances all of your energies. So again, Donna Eden, who I've spoken of before here with the Eden method, Eden energy medicine, she put together this routine and these exercises because they were the things that she was suggesting to her clients most often that were most globally useful in balancing people's overall energy systems. And this is something that I don't go a day without doing. It's that important. It really, really makes a difference. So that's a whole other presentation. So let me tell you how you can find out more about it, okay? These are some QR codes for video resources. Again, these are going to be on the handout that will be on the website here for you shortly in the next day or two. The one on the left side of the screen is that blowing out the venom, right? The one that we did. The middle one is cover the eyes, calming down triple warmer, where we covered our eyes and went behind our ears. And the one on the right is the daily energy routine. So it's 7 minutes, me just going through it. That particular one doesn't explain how to do it. It is the routine. I do teach classes on that. I've been teaching them at Group Health, and I will be teaching them out on my own in private practice. and I'm planning one in January. I don't have the date and location picked yet, but you can find all of these also on my YouTube channel, Creating Connections with Wendy Warren. And then finally, I want to leave you with the last resource. It's not all about me. I have some wonderful, amazing colleagues who are also going out into private practice from group health starting at the first of the year. And we put together this Wisconsin Wellness Collective website as a way for you all to find us. And if that's what the website looks like there, if it were a live website, you'd scroll down and you would see all of our pictures with contact information on how to get a hold of us and how to book appointments. And there's also a place on there to join a mailing list so that we can let you know about the different classes and offerings that we have. We're probably only going to send out like one thing a month just to kind of update everybody on where we are and what we're doing and what might be available. And you can always opt out of that. So the Scan Me QR code in the lower right-hand corner, that is a QR code to take you to the website. So just a couple different ways for you to get there. So I will have the, we'll get us out of this now and come back full screen and tell you thank you so much for spending time with me today. I really enjoyed sharing this information with you. As you can probably tell, very passionate about working with energy. It's something I've been doing for years and really has made a huge difference in my life, in the lives of the people who I work with. And I want you to really understand and appreciate that you can balance your energies in order to get better sleep. And hopefully you understand why you might want to work with your energies. You got some tools, some exercises to do, and then some tips and resources to play with as you move forward. Please reach out if we have any questions. I think we have just a few minutes left. I can take a couple of questions. Any questions we don't have time for, I'm happy to answer directly if you want to. There's a way to do that. I think Allison can explain. Yes. And please do look for, I'm going to do a class on the daily energy routine in January. So if that's something, and it'll probably be in person, but if there is enough request for doing something online as well, I'd be happy to do that and share that with you too. So thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. And we'll open it to some questions.
We definitely have some questions, so we'll get through as many as we can here, and then everything that we don't get to, we'll try and send to Wendy and have her email you back directly for those. So one of the questions is, I'm addicted to watching TV to fall asleep just for the noise. Is that okay? I literally can't fall asleep without it. So what about sound or noise when going to sleep?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I don't know that I have a global answer to that. I would probably want to know more about what's going on for you specifically. So I don't want to say definitively yes or no, but some things that I would consider is, is that keeping your mind active, right? Is there a way that we can calm your brain down a little bit more so that you can go to sleep? Or is there more of like a white noise that's more soothing than something really active? That's the best I can say to that without knowing more about your specific situation. Generally, I'd say it's probably not a great idea, but sometimes that's what,
Yeah, and
I'll leave it at that.
Here's another question that kind of ties into that answer, Wendy. What do you think about white noise or blue or green noise machines or phone apps? Is there anything that you would recommend or that you prefer?
Yeah, we had them when our kids were little. We called them a whoosher. They made that whooshing sound, and those can be really helpful. Yeah, I mean, I think the thing to think about there is, does that level of noise keep you from being woken up by other noises in your house during the night, right? If you're generally in a quiet environment, then I would say probably not using that, just to really let your mind and your brain rest during that sleep time. But having that noise to mask other noises can be a good thing.
Next question. You said you recommended going to having a 10 o'clock bedtime. Did you mean sleeping right at 10 o'clock? Or would you say like starting to wind down and reading or something along those lines starting at 10?
I would not be so particular about it. You sound like me. I'm like, I always want to know exactly the right. I've learned to try to calm down with some of that. It's anytime in that range, right? So triple warmer's active from 9 to 11. So you just want to kind of be winding down during that time, not gearing up. I'm playing into that level there. Okay, so sometimes like I try to start going to bed somewhere between 9 and 9:30, try to be in bed kind of around 10ish. And sometimes I'll read until 11, right? But it's like quieter time. So the whole idea is between that 9 and 11, make that more of your winding down time than, oh, I'm going to answer a bunch of emails for work quick and I'm going to take care of this and take care of that. All right.
Excellent. I'm going to do one more question about your presentation. And then before we log off, I just want to go over where people can find all the information too at the very end. So one more question and then we'll recap that.
Okay.
So are there times on the wheel consistent for everyone? I'm a lifelong night owl, so falling asleep later than the time frame you mentioned. I wake up around 5 a.m. and can't fall back asleep for 45 minutes or so. Would I fall into the large intestine area or the lung? So shifting those time frames.
Yes, yes. So everybody has the same one, right? So we all those are universal. That's how our bodies work. And it plays into why when we travel and we go to a different time zone, we're off, right? And we get jet lag. And there's actually a way to work with your meridians to not get jet lag. It's kind of cool. So you orient yourself to that time of day. So somebody like you, I would look at, if we were working together one-on-one, I would look at tracing your meridians to get them more lined up with the time that you're in and reinforce that, like, hey, we're in this time, we're here. Because who knows, you might be off a little bit in where you're lined up with for whatever reason. So bringing yourself back to the time zone that you're functioning in, even if you haven't traveled, there might be reasons why you're off a little bit. But technically, we all have those. It's just a matter of which time zone we're in and how that's functioning. So I would look at tracing your meridians. I don't know that I honestly can't remember if I have a video on my YouTube channel about tracing meridians or not. If not, I should put one up there. But yeah, that was a lot of things. Did that answer your question?
And just, I think to kind of wrap things up, let's see. Are you going to have your website and YouTube channel posted on the handouts that will be on this presentation? Is there a slide?
Yes, everything that you saw on slides, you're going to get a copy of. So my website, my YouTube channel is on there. I don't currently have a website, but I will have a booking site if you want to book an appointment, and that will be available through that Wisconsin Wellness website as well. So if you go there, and you can find out how to get in touch with me or sign up for the mailing list, and we'll keep you up to date on what I'm up to and my colleagues from Group Health as well. But
Perfect.
everything you saw on the screen, you will get a copy of, plus the step-by-step instructions in the notes section.
Yes, and I know a number of people have had questions about that. So for anyone who's interested, just come back to the Monona Terrace website, possibly tomorrow or the next day, and they will have that posted for you. So you'll have the recording of this presentation. You'll have the handouts that Wendy's been talking about, the QR codes with the special videos, and then also the link to the Wisconsin Wellness Collective with all of her information on it. So lots and lots of information there. So as we've been talking about that will all be posted on the Monona Terrace website. So just give Misty a little time to get that posted, and you should see that soon.
And I'm just gonna jump in here quick. Everyone who participated in the Zoom webinar will receive an email from Zoom asking for comments about the webinar, and there'll be a link to that page in that email you receive from Zoom tomorrow.
Perfect. All right, and I know we've got a couple more questions, but we'll get those to Wendy to answer directly to you, because I know our time is up today. But Wendy, thank you for your wonderful presentation. It's so informational, and got lots of great things out of that. And once again, Monona Terrace, Misty, thank you for all that you've done for us and all that you do for the community. We really appreciate being here and being able to interact with all of our community members. So thanks for everything.
Well, and you know what, Allison, too, if I can just quick say, I forgot to mention that me and my colleagues have been doing these talks for a number of years, and they all still live on the Monona Terrace website on that wellness page that you'll get the link to. So, feel free to go through there and look and watch all of the other ones. We have some really fun, different topics if you haven't seen them before. So thank you very much, Misty. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you to you, Wendy, and also to you, Allison. It's been a pleasure working with you. Thank you all for joining us today, and have a wonderful rest of your day and week.